Okay, so this is our course framework, and it shows to you the flow of the courses. I mean, the contents of the courses along the way until the final period. So, as mentioned, we will begin with information technology and the society for the entire prelim period. Hence, in this period, we will talk about how information technology change our lifestyle and the entire society in general. So, as you can see, and as you can tell, maybe with your imagination right now, the contents are actually relatable because these are, we have experienced changes when it comes to our lifestyle and how we generally live our lives with the presence of information technology. We will be that will be followed with information technology in the economy. So that is going to be discussed for the entire midterm period. So in this topic, we will focus on terms and matters about electronic business, electronic commerce, online businesses, the rise of online businesses, online banking, online transactions, especially in the global situation right now under the pandemic. And we will be that will be followed with information technology and the public administration, the role of information technology for the governments or in the governments, especially in providing government services. So, what are information systems? We will tackle about um, technologies that governments now use in order to connect and reach out to citizens when delivering government services. And finally, we will tackle information technology and culture. We will try to assess ourselves based on our personal stand and ground to try to answer the question: has our culture been affected by the modern world? And speaking of the modern world, let's try to contain that into the focus of information technology. So, is it making an impact to our culture? Are we forgetting our culture? Or is there a connection between preserving our culture with information technology? Are there actually movements from people coming from the information technology discipline that try to preserve culture? Do they use technology? And if they do, what are the technologies that we can use in order to preserve our culture? Or have we preserved it? Okay, so inana nga mga pangutana. Okay? And right, so we now move forward to this question since this is the highlight of this course. And I really do believe that you have already heard or defined the term back in your senior high school days. Like I said, back in your uh, MIL and empowerment technologies courses. But since this is the main highlight of living in the IT era, we will we will again deal with its definition so that we will be enlightened and the main context is clear along the way. So, if we talk about information technology in its simplest sense, it is simply the use of computers to store, retrieve, transmit, and manipulate data or information. So I need you to focus on the following actions, on the following verbs in terms of thinking about information technology. Anything or any technology out there, and in this definition, it is simplified because it mentioned only the computer. When you use your computer or any technology to store, retrieve, transmit, and manipulate data or information, that is a manifestation that you are already using information technology. And by the way, I need you to forget about thinking that computers are or look like the typical computers that you see on computer or in computer laboratories. Smartphones technically are also computers. In fact, your oven has a computer inside it. Cars also have computers inside it. Okay, so anything that processes digital information are computers. So in this context, I need you to widen your perspectives about the term computer. I don't want you to limit your imagination to thinking that computers are the ones that you see in computer laboratories or your laptops. No. Technically, anything that processes, any digital or electronic goods or products that process information, digital information, are considered computer. The chip inside your oven or your car or your smartphone, given that smartphones are now very powerful, are considered computers. Okay? So, in this sense or in this context, computers are may also include smartphones and etc. So the whole thing or the whole sense is to manipulate and manage data. Now, data uh, can be of any type. So we have texts and we have sound. We have videos. These are also examples of data. We have images, okay? Our voice, etc. So these are massive collections of data. YouTube, for example, collects data, but the type of data that it collects, it manages are, if you can, well, if you've observed it, are video files or uh, yeah, video files. So in that sense, if you are using a smartphone to share, let's say for example, a film or a movie to your friend using share it, then that is already an example or a manifestation that you both are using or participating or establishing a connection, and hence using or performing something we call information technology. So we have a guide question below. What is with data and information, and what makes it vital to our needs, and why is it important? Now, since I have already prepared this last week and it's supposed to be asked to you on a session, but since we can't do it today, we'll have a short discussion na lang about this guide question. Organizations need data for decision making, okay? And even people, they require data for decision making as well. So organizations process and manage massive collections of data every single day. And we need information technology or technologies out there, or in its simplest and basic sense, computers, in order for us to be able to manage it properly. Or else we will rely on the manual, the traditional ways of collecting and managing our data. And you guess it right, maybe we will again use folders and steel cabinets and blah blah blah. And of course, um, we don't need to talk about why we cannot do that right now, because given that, or like I said, organizations now collect massive amount of data, so we need digital versions of those data, and digital means of managing data. Okay. Now that was the original purpose. That was the original reason why information technology to begin with existed. Of course, there are issues along the way, and there are other matters along the way, quote unquote, effects of the presence of information technology. And that is why we need to talk about it as we live in a generation that is controlled or dominated, with by information technology. Okay. Now, there are various contexts of uh, needs or disciplines that need information technology. So, personally, as human beings, we need information technology to do our job, to complete your tasks and etc., your lifestyle and etc. And on the business context or domain, they also need information technology to handle transactions, passive transactions. And of course, for the government, they need information technology to provide government services. So, contrary to what many believe, information technology is actually everywhere. And learning how to use a computer and using smartphone is not enough, actually. After all, information technology is a field of study. It's a discipline. That means there is science behind it. That means there is an art behind it. That means there is so much more to learn and to discover about it. Except that, of course, again, may I repeat, we will not tackle um, quite two technical terms within this course, or else that's gonna be challenging for the students not coming from the College of Computing Studies.